Keystone Cops.
What's going on, guys? Back with the video I told you all I was going to make, which is my top 5 American-made knives. Spoiler alert, I don't think you're going to see anything in this video that is going to catch you off guard or catch you by surprise. I do have a 6th knife that I do want to make honorable mention for, but you'll kind of see why that is as the video plays out. So let's go ahead and start. I'm going to start with the first knife that I don't understand, and I've said this several times, and I've talked to several people that have purchased these knives, people that have purchased one and then turned around and bought a second. This is the Hinderer Firetech. I don't know why this knife does not get more exposure, I guess might be the word, or love from the community, if you want to say that. Especially from the Hinderer guys. This knife is like a CRK meets Hinderer, straightforward, easygoing carry type of knife. Just a good all-around EDC knife. It is thinner than like your XM18, which we know that is the Hinderer knife, but it is not tactical like a Hinderer XM platform, which is one of the things I don't understand. You would think that would be more approachable to a lot of guys, because that's usually one of the first things that people say. I don't want one of those tactical knives or whatever. So this is a straightforward design. It's one of Rick's older designs. It's used to be a custom up until about 3 or 4 years ago, and then he decided to make them production knives. Since then, there have been a few small batches that come out, but they seem to just kind of roll out with unceremoniously, with no support, no love, no kind of push from the retailers like the XMs get. They just kind of get dumped on the site and they just kind of sit there. You see these on the secondary for, I've seen them as low as $225, usually around that $300 mark. You see them going for. I just don't understand why this is not a knife that gets more appreciation. It is a little bit larger. My hand is 4.5 inches from one side to the other, so this is probably a 5-inch handle, 4 3/4 inch handle, and this is probably a 3 3/4 inch, 4-inch blade, somewhere in that ballpark. It is 20 CV steel. It does have a titanium liner lock with a steel insert. It is on Teflon. And I have actually tightened this up because the action is so good. You can see how it just flicks right open, that if you tune this like you would a regular, your average knife, I guess I should say, not regular, average knife, it will just almost guillotine down on your finger. It's too fast, it feels too loose. It does have a thumb disc opener, which I know some people think is a deal breaker, but it's just hard to beat this knife. It's just a straightforward, classic design. Been around for many years. I just don't know how I could not put this on my list, and I don't know why this knife does not get more exposure in the knife world. I know you guys were probably thinking of modern knives when you were thinking top 5 American-made knives. I was thinking knives across the board. This is a GEC 38 Grinling Whittler. This is what is known as a split back Whittler, and I think you can see there the difference in coloring on the metal portion here, these back springs. There's a lighter silver that kind of tapers down, and you can see it kind of stops and there's a gap. What happens is there are actually 2 springs here with a wedge in between the 2. So those 2 springs are separate, and they operate 2 smaller secondary blades on this end, and then they converge down on the other side to make a stronger spring for the main blade. And this is a classic pattern as far as the blade shapes are concerned. Just the tolerances are amazing to me, and I don't like to use the word collector a lot, but I like this pattern so much, I would say I collect this pattern. But you can see how far that main blade comes back all the way past those 2 secondary blades. You could literally catch your finger on the edge of this if you stuck your finger down in that blade well. But the tolerances are just amazing on these knives, and these are all made by hand on 100-plus-year-old equipment. No fancy CNC machines, none of that stuff. All hand done. Just amazing work. something that I'm always blown away by. These do go for a pretty penny because you don't see them often. I think it does have to do with the difficulty of manufacturing. You don't see a lot of manufacturers making the split back whittlers like that. So that would be my number 2. Number 3, and this is in no specific order, is going to be of no surprise. It is going to be the large Sebenza 21, specifically the in single blade shape. I was having a conversation about this the other day. First off, this is just a design that has stood the test of time. Straightforward, easy ergonomics. It has a hardened lock face here on the lock bar, this titanium lock bar. This is the original frame lock knife. So again, I don't know how I could not put this knife on here. This blade shape, though, is what I was talking about with somebody. This blade shape, in my opinion, is one of the best for EDC carry. It's got a gradual belly pretty much the entire knife, and then the tip comes to a very fine point thanks to these swedges on either side. So you get a lot of piercing power there. It's just not very fat and bulbous at the tip like the drop point is. I honestly haven't owned a drop point in years and years and years. So that would be my number 3. Number 4 is also not going to be any surprise to anyone. It is my Strider S&G. This was 20 CB. This is 1095. This is S35 yen because it is one of the newer models, which I know they've been doing S35 for quite some years now, but it is S35 yen version. This is a Z-Wear Strider S&G. This knife just works. Again, it stood the test of time. All of these companies here have a warranty department, customer service department that is going to back these knives for the life of the knife. CRK in particular, I mean, their customer service and warranty department is second to none. Some of the things they offer in their I don't know if you want to call it warranty department, but their shop, so to speak, you can't get that from other places, such as reblasted handles, making the knife look new again, custom engraving, etc., etc., etc. Just amazing, in my opinion, for a production company. Yes, at the higher end, but a production company nonetheless. This is yet another knife that is a very old design. This is one of Ernest Emerson's pre-tack designs, and it is the Mini A100 in 154 cm steel. Just a straightforward design. It is a little bit blocky. This G10 can be a little bit rough. You can sand that down. I think because of how narrow the knife is in this dimension, I don't think the thickness here is as much of a deal. I think you need that thickness to really get your hand around it. But it's just a straightforward design. It's easy to sharpen. It's V-ground, which on the primaries, which I know is a big deal. For some people, they don't want a chisel ground knife. It's just a good, straightforward, easy to use, easy to take care of in maintenance, backed by a great company, great warranty. Every single part on this knife is made here in the United States. You know, I just, again, I don't know how this could not be in my top 5 American-made knives. And last but not least, I made a purchase last year that was a big surprise to me for the specific knife. And also, once I got to talking with the company, I was just kind of blown away by the company and their processes and all of those types of things. So here I have my Hogue EXO 1 4-inch, still carrying it tipped down. This also is 154 cm steel. Again, this steel is gonna do you well. They process all their steels very well. They make sure they go the extra steps, including when they finish these knives, they are hand sharpening the knives to make sure that they're not burning any edges or anything like that. I met Elishewitz and Neil and all the guys at Blade. Very nice guys, very willing to talk, very willing to engage with the community, listen to feedback, implement that feedback, etc. And one of the other things is this is a $180 knife. Yes, I know this is not a budget lineup. This is a $180 knife. But when you compare it with another peer in the knife world, so to speak, the Microtech SOCOM Elite, that knife is $250. Yes, you can get different steels, but this 154 CM is going to do you plenty good enough. It's hard to compete with a knife that is $180 when you're a $250 knife, and the company does this knife so well. So this would be my honorable mention, is what I'm going to call it. And these would be the 6 knives overall that I would say would be my personal top 5, with an honorable mention, American made knives. I appreciate you guys watching. Remember, a lazy man carries a dull knife, and don't be a dumb person with a smartphone.